Well, this is interesting. I'm covered. They're actually everywhere. Look, they're all over my top, down the... Oh, there's one stuck in my hand. What the heck? Good morning, YouTube. Welcome to DMOT Garage. We are back on the 1970 bug for Kiera, and this week's episode we're going to continue with the rotisserie. Last episode on this bug we were stripping it and we got it in here. Now the plan with this bug is obviously not to strip to separate the pan from the body, because we don't want to go into that sort of detail. So we're going to just pick up some points here on the rear. Obviously that's not going to be strong enough to hold and it'll just twist like a pretzel, so we're going to pick up a steel point across the gearbox mounts, and also we'll run a piece of steel from here over to these 2 points here, bolt up onto that. And on the front, same sort of problem over here. You know, we can't just run it straight off this because, you know, that's not going to be strong enough, so we'll take another piece of metal and sandwich it between the beam here, just to pick up that point, and that'll make it nice and structural. And then we can just, all we want to do is get this thing onto its side so we can clean and paint the underneath of it. Remembering that it is a budget build, not like the Millie bug where we did spend a lot more time on it. So yeah, that's the plan going forward. You know, we're going to give this a neaten up inside here, a bit of a paint, you know, go from there. So, all right, we'll finish bolting. I had to actually re-tap a couple of these holes here because they were clapped out, so we've done that. We can actually attach the steel members to it. I'll cut up some extra steel for the sides, and beautiful. All right, let's keep going. Righto guys, you can see a bit more of the progress here. We have welded, just with a stick welder, this frame. It is quite overkill, but we want the thing to be structurally solid. So at the moment we're just doing the front here. We're just working out we've still got to chop some parts and bolt into here, but it's getting there. This has taken, how long's it taken? Whole day?
6 weeks.
See,
as long as Millie bug.
He's over there drilling holes for these clamps. But yeah, this has been an all-day affair to get this thing onto a rotisserie, and we're not there yet.
Drilling holes is so damn slow.
Who's slow?
Very slow.
I got a bottle of NOS. Would that help?
Yeah.
All right, we'll bring you back in when this thing is on its side, and then we can have a good look at the underneath of it.
2,000 years later.
Okay, boys and girls, as you can see, we have got our rotisserie almost finished. We've been doing some substandard welding, as you can see.
That's your best welding, isn't it?
We're just playing around up the front here. This is what we came up with. It is ghetto, but there's some triangulation involved. Not a lot, but it should work. Oh yeah, well they've got to come off anyway, so. But yeah, we've picked up obviously 3 points at the back here, transmission and side, torsion tube. So it should work. And we've got a bit of adjustability here. And yeah, let's see what happens when we take the jack stands away and see if it flips over and smashes on its roof.
It's only a test piece, so.
Yeah. So we've got the rotisserie. It took us a while just to get the balance point sorted on these little holes you can see here. We had to just move it to try to get it so that it wasn't going to fight us to get it onto its side. But as you'll see now, if I go to the front, I can just grab that pole. All right, come on, helper. Can you do it by yourself?
That's fine.
Let's see. So there it goes, onto its side.
You can even turn it inverted if you want to, but don't want to. So.
No.
Put a pin in here.
Well, we've got gearbox oil in it, so potentially it might. You know what? It shouldn't leak out. There's seals there, so. But then you put a little pin in, and that's it. Things on its side. You can have a look here. We can have a bit of a good look now at the underneath of this Kiera bug.
We tried to do Millie bug, and it was a pain in the ring trying to paint underneath it.
Yeah, it was.
So now we can actually do something.
This was that repair that we did probably 3 years ago now. Yeah, exactly. We can come in here and fix all this, but you know, rust converter.
Get a
you know,
better look at things.
Yeah, better look and
see more problems.
More problems. Yeah, this is a modified home rotisserie, and
The motor too, so it's been used.
Yeah.
It was made so it could be multi fixtures to different things. So,
yeah, it's not bad.
Not too bad. No.
It's actually
Pass.
it does pass.
It's a lot easier to work on, that's for sure.
So that's the plan. We're going to basically get rid of all this surface rust. What do you reckon? Ceramic wheel it back.
Yeah.
Strip
Where you
disc.
can and convert.
And then convert, and then we can KBS and everything
You can
else.
see what's under there.
Yeah.
It's still solid.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, it is. It's very good.
That one's dirty. Can play drums on it again. So it's the same tone. I like
Wow, that's got it. Yeah, that
tightened up.
interesting.
You can almost turn that another 15 degrees if you wanted to get that. That roof would get very close to being on the ground.
It won't, or it will.
I reckon it'd be very close to being on the ground. Could do a measurement, but it'll touch. If you go another 15 degrees, I reckon you'd touch.
Yeah, you probably would, wouldn't you?
You don't
But
need more than 90.
well, you could. Yeah, you don't really need to, and you can go both ways.
What you talking about, Will?
All right. Well, we'll bring you back in when we've got a little more progress. And yeah, so everybody, we have discovered a bit of a problem. And the problem was we were turning these drums, and one side was kind of stiffish and the other side was quite loose. And we were like, Now, we know we've had an impact here, because if you go back to the very first episode on the Kiera bug, you'll notice that this all got repaired, and we know the impact came from this direction. But what we failed to see is, if you have a look at this axle, it looks like a banana from Queensland. It's supposed to be straight, so that's why we're having a binding issue with the bearings, because obviously it's not rotating. Now, I wonder if the internal axle is bent too.
Springs to it should be hard.
Probably not. Anyway, the plan now is we have to get the gearbox out, so it means we're going to have to remodify these brackets here, and we will have to move on from there. So gearbox is out. We'll have to sort out whether we repair that or just get another one. We'll see how we go. We do have oxy here, so we might be able to heat it up and get the tube back into position. So that will be in another day, because it's the afternoon.
A few moments later.
Righto, fellas. So what we're going to be doing now is stripping. Well, just trying to get most of that rust. It's a bit of dirt and a bit of rust and a couple of spiky bits of metal there. Stabbed on that. So we're just going to clean up this thing. I'm just going to try one of these wire wheels, because we're not really trying to strip off paint. So, yeah. Respirator, earmuffs. Let's go. Well, this is interesting. I'm covered. Oh my God, look at this. Oh, I've been stabbed everywhere by little, oh my God, they're actually everywhere. Look, they're all over my top. Oh, there's one stuck in my hand. What the heck? Wow, we've got spikes all over me. Wow. That is funny. All right, we'll do a little bit more cleaning. Man, we've got spikes all over the place. Righto, so we are going to be putting some Fahrenheit as a rust converter primer all in one. So first off, we're just going to wet the area with some water and a brush, and then apply the Fahrenheit. Righto, it is back on its side, and we've just done a little bit more rust conversion in those sections under there. Taken the gearbox out, obviously, she's on the ground down there, and you can see how the Fahrenheit, once it does its conversion, it just turns black, and it really converts, obviously, the rust to an inert organic material. Great stuff. You know, you can use phosphoric acid or this. This one just is more of a primer as well. So you can just go straight over the top of this with KBS basically, and that's what we're going to do. So I've got a little bit more just to do in here, and at least the bottom of it's done. And we will put a little bit of seam sealer just around this section here. Obviously new pan's been welded in. About 2 years ago we did that. So we just want to blend it and make it so you can't really tell. And yeah, then we can start moving on to the top half once we've got all this painted. Then we can just clean it up a little bit more and move on to the top part. All right, let's keep moving. So we are almost ready for KBS. We have the fan on because it's quite fumy. And you can see I've just gone around that repaired area with some Sikaflex deadener, I don't even know what you call it, that stuff. I know it's white, it probably should have been black, but it's all good. A little bit of a repair down there that we had to fix up. And yeah, she's ready to rock and roll. So we'll get the KBS out. We've got a little roller, a paintbrush, and a prayer. Let's go. All right, guys, so as you can see, we've got all this done and it is looking nice, and we can move on to some other parts on this, and that will probably do it for this episode, guys. We'll catch you in another episode on DMOT Garage. No worries, we'll see you guys later.